Good evening. You know, there are moments in life where you sit back and realize you made a terrible career decision. For me, that realization arrived on Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. Because while thousands of graduates across New Jersey are staring down to student loan bills the size of mortgage payments, while young professionals are skipping vacations, postponing buying homes, and calculating whether they can afford groceries and gasoline in the same week, Governor Mikie Sherrill walked across the stage at Montclair State University and received an honorary degree. An honorary degree. Not a good degree earned through sleepless nights, not a degree earned through endless research papers, not a degree earned through balancing three jobs while trying to survive New Jersey cost of living, not a degree earned while making monthly loan payments that feel like a second rent payment. No, an honorary degree. And the best part? This is apparently just the beginning of Governor Sherrill's 2026 commencement tour, because Rutgers University is scheduled to honor her again on May 17th, and NJIT plans to honor her on May 22nd. And at this point, New Jersey colleges are handing out honorary degrees to Mikie Sherrill the way Costco hands out free samples. One campus after another, one ceremony after another, one standing ovation after another. Meanwhile, actual students are sitting there wondering whether Sally Mae accepts applause as payment. Because I graduated from Montclair State University. I was an undergrad receiving a bachelor's in 2024, and I graduated again in 2025 with my master's. Again, from Montclair State. And unlike Trenton politicians, I didn't receive a complimentary diploma package. No red carpet, no honorary doctorate, no university committee deciding if I did receive another framed credential because I happen to hold political office. No, like millions of Americans, I received something much more realistic. Debt. Tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Every single month, faithfully, those payments come due. Every month. Like clockwork, because unlike politicians, regular people do not get to declare ourselves as honorary graduates and walk away from the bill. There is an entirely different set of rules for political elites. One set of rules for ordinary people, another set of rules for political class. If you are a student, you pay. If you're politically connected, you give speeches. That's a system. Honestly, maybe I chose the wrong profession. Maybe instead of a journalism, business, and finance, I should have gone in a democratic politics. Apparently, that is where the real rewards are. You spend enough time in government, say the right things at the right time at cocktail parties, appear enough on Sunday talk shows, and eventually universities start handing you degrees you never actually earned there. It's remarkable. And here's the true fascinating part. These political figures consistently lecture Americans about equity, fairness, economic hardship. They tell young people they understand the student debt crisis. Really? Because from where I'm sitting, it seems like the political class is living an entirely separate universe. A universe where an average New Jersey resident struggles under crushing taxes, crushing inflation, crushing housing costs, and crushing student debt, while politicians collect honorary titles and deliver speeches about sacrifice. And speaking of New Jersey, let us remember something else. Governor Mikie Sherrill is not originally from New Jersey. She was born in Virginia. Yet somehow, after arriving in New Jersey politics, she rapidly became the newest patron saint of the Democratic establishment. At this pace, by July, she may receive the honorary doctorate from the New Jersey Turnpike Authority. Maybe the MVC will hand her a commercial driver's license next. Maybe PC&G can award her an honorary electric bill. Although, considering how expensive those bills are becoming in New Jersey, maybe nobody will want that honor anymore. But perhaps the most uncomfortable part of all of this is the media's willingness to completely ignore the serious questions surrounding Sherrill's past. Because while Governor Sherrill has denied wrongdoing connected to the U.S. Naval Academy cheating scandal in the early 1990s, questions surrounding the controversy have continued to follow her political career. Reporters have stated that she did not participate in the Naval Academy graduate ceremony in 1994 following the fallout from the scandal, though she maintained she was punished for not reporting classmates involved and has denied personal cheating. Now, let me say something clearly. I am not accusing her of cheating, but I am saying what millions of Americans are probably thinking. Universities don't just bar people from participating in graduation ceremonies over absolutely nothing. Common sense still exists, and regardless of where people stand politically, it is fair for the public to ask questions about transparency when someone's built an enormous political branding around integrity, military service, and public trust. This is not extremist, this is accountability, especially in modern American politics, where everyone suddenly develops selective amnesia whenever there is preferred candidates facing scrutiny. And yet somehow, despite all of this lingering question, Governor Sherrill now finds herself celebrating by elite institutions across New Jersey. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly. Again, honorary degree, because apparently in 2025, the fastest route to economic recognition is not surviving finals week, it is surviving a cable news interview. And let's talk about what honorary degrees have become. Once upon a time, honorary degrees were rare distinctions reserved for transformational figures who contributed and fundamentally changed society. Now, they often feel more like political loyalty rewards. Universities invite politicians, politicians deliver predictable speeches, administrators applaud, students sit in the heat for 3 hours, and then somewhere in the audience, a graduate with $80,000 in student debt quietly wonder whether they should have majored in political networking instead, because in modern America, credentials increasingly feel disconnected from sacrifice. Young Americans were told, work harder, study harder, take out more loans, invest in your future. And after all of that, many graduates enter a workforce where rent is unaffordable, housing is collapsing out of reach, inflation continues hammering household budgets, and entry-level jobs somehow require 5 years of experience. But at least politicians receive honorary doctorates. That must be comforting. And of course, this all comes from the same Democratic political machine that spent years insisting they were the campaigns of struggling young Americans. Really? Because young Americans increasingly cannot afford homes, cannot afford groceries, cannot afford insurance, cannot afford rent, cannot afford student loan payments. Yet political elites continue holding ceremonies celebrating each other. It begins to resemble a never-ending reward banquet. And maybe this is why so many ordinary Americans have become cynical, because they watch this political theater unfolding while trying to survive real life. The average New Jersey resident don't just wake up wondering how many honorary degrees they will receive this month. They wake up wondering whether they can afford property tax, whether they can afford childcare, whether they could afford increasing utility bills, whether they can afford refilled prescriptions. That's the reality. But political reality is different. Political reality means appearing at a commencement ceremony surrounded by applause while ordinary graduates quietly calculating debt repayment schedules. And look, universities can honor whoever they want, and that's their right. But citizens also have the right to ask whether these ceremonies increasingly reflect the political favoritism rather than the extraordinary accomplishments. And students absolutely have the right to feel frustrated, especially students who actually pay for their education, especially graduates who spent decades paying off their student loans, especially graduates who did everything they were told to do. Study hard, get good grades, go to college, work nonstop, build a career, only to discover the political class still operates by entirely different rules. And maybe that's the true lesson here. In American history, prestige is increasingly disconnected from merit. Connection matter, politics matter, public image matters. Meanwhile, ordinary Americans continue voting the bill, literally. So congratulations, Mikie Sherrill. Congratulations on Montclair State. Congratulations on Rutgers. Congratulations on NJIT. 3 honorary degrees in the span of weeks. That's impressive. Meanwhile, the rest of New Jersey will continue making actual payments on actual student loans earned through actual coursework. Maybe next year the universities can hand out honorary debt relief too. Now that would be a standing ovation. Now this is just my take. I'm Haylee Ficuciello, Senior Correspondent and Struggling Journalist for Englebrook Independent News. Good night.